Welcome everyone to our SIG release meeting. This meeting adheres to the Kubernetes or CNCF code of conduct, which basically boils down to be excellent to each other. Please add yourself to the list of attendees as well as your pronouns. And Joseph is taking notes today, so thank you for that. So the first thing we would like to talk are our recurring topics. And do we have anyone on the call who would like to introduce themselves to the SIG?
I'll speak for one. I actually see a colleague of mine who I've met. There's a friend of mine, Jake, on the call. I know he's probably first time here. I know he's joining because I keep bugging him to come into SIG release.
Hey guys, I'm Jake Plemack. I work at Tesla and I'm interested in trying to join SIG release. I've been looking at issue 2383 about adding cosign, which I find pretty interesting. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how I can get involved and like find a good first issue to work on. So thanks for inviting me, Joseph.
Cool, thank you, Jake. Yeah, so this meeting more or less focuses on the sub-project updates we have in SIG release, and one of our sub-projects is release engineering. And the whole signing integration will be part of the release engineering meetings, which will happen next Tuesday at the same time. But we will probably give an update today about from the release engineering perspective. And I think with that, we can directly dive into the sub-project updates, and we can start with release engineering. We have Marco on the call. Marco, do you have an update about the release engineering side of things?
No, not really.
Okay, I mean, that's fine. I mean, I can give an update about the integration of the signing cap, which is probably the thing we are working on right now mostly. So we have this Kubernetes release repository, which contains the MVP about the container image signing. And this is the first integration for the cap, which is related to not only to container image signing, but also to signing other artifacts like binary artifacts. And we made some progress, which is kind of cool, because we are integrating not only the functionality into our release SDK, which is container image signing and also the verification of the signatures, but we also have to keep the cap update, which is now officially part of the current release cycle. So we have to sync up on this one. And we also have to integrate it into our official release process, which is currently ongoing. And this incorporates some changes to ownership, how we build releases, and who is able to build, who is able, for example, to create the service account tokens to be able to use keyless signing. But it also incorporates a bunch of documentation enhancements. So we have to document to the end user how those signatures can be verified later on. And this is already, I mean, this is partially done because we added our official container images to the changelog and things like that, but we still have to find a way how end users can verify those signatures. And we were discussing about integrating the verification into kubeadm, for example, but this is still in early stages, so we have to find a way how to distribute the signatures or verify the distributed signatures later on. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns about the update on this cap? Because with that, I would like to defer further discussions to this release engineering meeting happening next week. And we can go over to our release team updates.
Hello. I can jump to this one. I put some notes in already. All right, it's week 5 of release. We have 70 days left, which means we are 1/3 of the way through the release, which is a terrifying prospect, let me tell you. We this last week completed enhancements freeze. We had 2 exception requests, both of which we accepted and both of which have now been completed. And after those, we are tracking 66 enhancements for 124. Joseph did an excellent job of doing all the shadow onboarding. We had a couple of sessions and went through that. Joseph, I don't know if you had any more comment to make on the onboarding.
No, everything went great. We had over 20 in attendance. I will probably shoot some notes out because I think we had 1 or 2 that could not make it that I'll post in SIG Release.
Nice. And the last thing to note is I'm going to finalize the time later this week for the mid-cycle retro on the 23rd of March. I've had the doodle for that open for a while, so I've just been letting people respond as and when. We'll probably give it a couple more days and then close it off. Other than that, I don't think there's anything big to say other than to point out the fact that Grace and her team did an amazing job wrangling all these enhancements. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you for this update. Really looking forward to the mid-cycle retro, which probably gives us the chance to tackle some issues early in the cycle and not move everything to the end. So let's see how that works out. All right. So that's it from our sub-project updates. And I changed the order a bit when we are looking at the original one. So walking the board kind of moved down and we are now directly jumping into open discussions. Lena, this one is yours.
Oh, wait, wrong camera. Okay, hello. Yeah, so last time in last SIG release engineering meeting, I also brought this topic up, but we didn't have enough time. So maybe I think today there should be enough time. So the open discussion point is basically about a tool. We discussed it a bit a couple of weeks ago. It's about the shadow release, release team shadow program that we would like to have like more transparency and so on, and also to improve how we select the shadows, because at the moment we have like an Excel table and it's very difficult to read through it and select applicants and so on. And this tool is doing both things. So it's doing some like very lightweight analysis and so on, and then also basically just scraping the Excel sheet. And we had, as I said, some discussions and the feedback overall was quite positive. And now the question would be, is this, how should we move forward? So what I could think about is that this is like just an example, what we could do, or like build something from the ground up, kind of. Or we move this project forward, like, I don't know, this code, donate it. And yeah, this was kind of the discussion point. So you can see the linked repository. It's very basic. Yeah, any thoughts? Or should I explain a bit more? Or
No, I was going to actually say what I was going to see. So I was going to ask, so as far as like, I know I'm overdue for some feedback, and I thought everything was really helpful, Leonard, on some of the things. Like I think some of the formatting and the reporting was helpful. I know that came in after the fact from a few other people, but I'm wondering if, do we want to have a chance to review this we have a mid-cycle retro coming up really quickly. And I think the leads would be, I don't know if the leads have given you enough feedback from the current release team. I think that would be, if they haven't, that would probably be a good avenue, because then we could take action right after in regards to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And there's also the round is a bit more, probably they're joining a bit more guys, folks, and so on. And then we have a like broader discussion happening.
I think there was one other outstanding thing. So I know we talked about was, because we were talking about like possibly potentially using personal or like some personal data. And I didn't know if you got feedback around that. if that's still part of this, or is
Yeah. So, yeah, there was this discussion. I also linked it under contribute X, because we don't want to share any personal data, of course. The applicants, they're describing a bit their goals and so on. So there's definitely personal data involved in the applicant forms. And right now, like I mentioned a couple of charts and like lightweight analysis. This is what I have in mind, and I also listed it on the repository. It's just to see where are the applicants from, on where are they working at, and so on. So this is like, these analyses are not like, do not share any personal data, but nonetheless, under this discussion, we said it would be legal fine to process this data, but it would be like, from a moral standpoint, better to have like next time the option to tick a checkbox to say it's fine to that this data will get processed and shared with the community, like very anonymously and so on. So if you like, there's like the Slack thread, and it's, I think, kind of a lot of messages, but this is more or less the summary.
Okay,
So,
no, I will. I know I'm overdue to take a look at that, so I will do that. I know there was also some additional things what I was thinking as you kind of did this that would be helpful behind the scenes. That was more related to the selection process, but I won't drag it out here. What I'll do is I'll provide feedback on this.
yeah. Cool. Yeah. And this was because I think half a year ago or something, a couple of months ago, I think James brought this topic up to improve the process of the release team shadow program. And this is like one of the steps to improve it, or to get more transparency. And I think there's like a lot more potential. So would be interesting. Yeah. Right.
Do you already have a process change in mind, how it could look like? So how the tool could support the overall process? So do we still, so I would assume that we still use the Google form and then export the data, put it into the tool, and drive our decision based on that?
Yes. So right now the process, I mean, there's not a crazy process around this. We will basically keep more or less everything in place. We have our Google form, and might update the form a bit, as I said, with the checkbox and maybe some things, but this is the same. And as soon as we have all the applicant data, then we can use this tool, or like some tool like this, to get a better overview for each subteam. Because if like we have like, I don't know, hundreds of applicants, but only communications gets maybe 20 applicants, they don't need to walk over all the other applicants. So basically just scraping the data a bit and processing the data. So this is for internal, kind of just to keep like ease a bit the selection process. And then the other like process would be to like agree, or to think about like some of the transparency that we could do. So generate some of the plots and diagrams, and create like some form. And then for every release cycle, we could share this information with the community and say how things are going. And so
Cool. I mean, this sounds like a great improvement. Do you think it would make sense to provide a demo with, for example, some randomly generated data, so to say?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Right now I didn't do that because we have like a lot of like columns and different kinds of data we need to put. So generating the test data is I mean, not a lot of effort, but it takes more than 10 minutes. So I haven't done this yet, but this is definitely a step also to test, obviously, the tool and so on. So I have to check when the retro is. I think there should be enough time to generate some random data, and then get it a bit more, like show it everything and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you. Any further questions or comments about this topic? So my personal opinion would be, if it's useful and we can enhance our processes, and you already have wrote some source code which solves the problem, then we can move forward from that point and donate the repository to Kubernetes 6 probably. Yeah.
Okay.
And make it something official, right? Because yeah, so change the official process to utilize the tool would be probably then the next step. Yeah. All right. Do we have any further updates or any other discussion topics? Do we have any updates about the Kate's infra discussion we had the last time? Something like this.
I have one related.
Cool.
Well, first, sorry for being late. So last night, and I filed a big PR for the work that I was doing last week, which is the big refactoring of the image promoter. So just context for anyone that's unfamiliar with it, the container image promoter is a program that copies images basically from staging and makes them available on the public registries. This is a key part of the release infrastructure, which is currently targeted to have a new functionality added to it as we drive towards the push to make the images available in other clouds besides just GCP. So for the greater part of last week and until yesterday, I was working on refactoring the code, which is I think the story with the image promoter is that it has had like lots of unplanned fixes and features and additions from a lot of people, but not really with a fixed goal in mind. So the code was really confusing, and it still is, but at least I made a reworking of the basic API surface and a new package to handle all of this. I'm going to link it in the chat, and I'll link it in the agenda too. So the idea of this refactor is that I want to land this before we start working on copying the images to the mirrors as part of the project that Kate's infra is leading. So that project, it's just in a nutshell, is that the community is running out of money because of the bills associated with serving all of the images. So the idea is to have local mirrors in other providers, starting with AWS, and we will make them available right after release. We're going to copy those to the mirrors. So before we start working on that, I wanted to clean up the code to make it more easy to understand and to add the additions of that effort and also the digital signatures. So I'm really happy on the way it turned out. I still have to find a way to test it locally because it's I need to set up like an environment of registries and service accounts and things like that. But mostly it should work, and if anyone has some cycles and wants to take a look at the refactor and have any additions, suggestions, whatever, I'd be happy to hear them. And once we land this, I will add the libraries, basically the libraries that all of the volunteers are writing to make the signing and verifying of the images, and hopefully we can. I'm really devoted to this, and I want to try to see if we can make the next alpha with verification and even an MVP of the signatures if possible. But we'll see, since this is like a huge PR and it needs like a thorough review because it's a critical piece of the release infrastructure. And I'm gonna mute because my dog is getting crazy.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for this update. I'm not sure when the next alpha release is planned, to be honest. I think we can also use the full cycle. We don't have to align to enhancement freeze. So because our signing enhancement is kind of out of tree, so we probably can use every release of the cycle. It should at least probably be finished before the release candidate or something like this. So.
Okay, if I'm not mistaken, it's the 15th, so next week.
Oh, okay.
But I've been closely following, and since we've got lots of enthusiastic people working on the updates this time, I'm fairly confident that we can make it.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing which concerns me a bit is this whole permission discussion on GCP. So we have to check out again, or have to cycle back with our Noah to help us to resolve that issue.
Yeah, I saw it, and I'm willing to help Arno with that if needed.
Yeah,
I got my authorization. I work to devote full 100% of my time for this, so you can feel free to throw anything at me that may come up.
Cool, sounds great. Yeah, because sometimes it looks easier than it actually is, right? So we have a huge set of permissions managed via this K8s.io repository, and we have to adjust the right ones. So, and sometimes it's kind of a trial and error. So,
cool.
Yeah. And yeah, one question from my side regarding this topic: how much effort would it be to implement this whole registry mirroring and the whole logic around it? What does it take?
My main concern was actually getting this ready for adding that. Now that we have it, if you see the new API and the promoter package, it's fairly simple, and it's kind of clear where it should go. So we should only need to add the copying logic, and that's it. Copying. I understand it's going to be from the registry to S3. If any of the people involved are here. I see. Eddie, are you here in the call? Are you able to confirm that?
Sorry, I was typing. What am I confirming?
Oh, so the idea is the first iteration of the mirroring process would be to copy the images from the registry, from the published images, and then pulling the blobs to the S3 store, right?
Yes, I believe that's the work in progress. The registry's actually been stood up, and we tested it already as a proof of concept with talking to S3. That is all Ben. Ben did a ton of work. So did Arno with the infra side of it. And we're still waiting on funding conversations with AWS for that account. So that's later today, actually.
Okay. So it should be not really that difficult.
Yeah, they made fast work of it. I think they want to do a bit of stress testing on the registry endpoint. This is what we landed on right now. You should be able to Docker, I'll put it in the chat here. You should be able to Docker pull that. But yeah, it's still pretty early.
Yeah, I can. So awesome. So just one question. Is anyone working on the copying of the blobs right now?
I don't think that's started, no.
Okay. Okay, so once we finish this refactor, we can start on our side, or maybe coordinate with if someone wants to take that.
Yeah, we'll dig in. I definitely want to learn more about how that's all working too. So
Okay, awesome.
All right, sounds great. So do we have any further discussion topic you would like to bring up? Because if not, then we can use a bit of our time to walk the board. And this is our SIG release board, and nothing is in review, which is great. We have a bunch of topics in progress. I would like to skim over them right now. Steven's not on the call, but we have the effort of moving branch names from master to main. So if anyone is interested in helping out this effort, because I think multiple repositories are involved, then feel free to reach out to Steven directly. Yeah. So there's a bunch of work also on our side. So we have a couple of repositories in SIG Release, which are probably easy to change, for example, KSIG Release. But we have to go step by step. Yeah. So then we have the initial draft of the branch rename for KK. So Carlos, do you have an update about this one?
I was working today. I just need to push the changes you requested, Sasha. I think like I'm gonna have like a free time after my work to finish those things. And I'm writing the form to send out in the KDev for collecting feedback from the downstream users.
Okay, cool. Sounds great. So then we can approve it afterwards, and then we can apply a lazy consensus that we merge it. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Within 1 week. Yeah.
Yeah, just so the people know, like there's some work like I did like before merging these, which is changing some jobs in the test infra to allow the main as well. And this is already merged, but this doesn't hurt anything right now. So the preparation is almost done. We just need to do the change and like collect feedback from the downstream users to see the best time frame and all this stuff.
Yeah, and our general time frame for this was to make the change during the start of the next release. So yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have time to collect feedback and like try to reach as much as possible we can.
Yeah, I mean, we still have some time left this cycle.
Yep.
Good. So then we have the developer audit guide. Jeremy is not on the call, so we will dive for this discussion. Some milestone maintainers documentation for training and retraining. This is interesting, but I think it's also stale since quite some time. And I don't think that anyone is working on this. Yeah. So if you're interested in picking up this issue, then feel free to reach out to Max. So this is related directly to this enhancement, changing KK, the default KK branch name to main. So we will probably not finish this in 124. Maybe Carlos, you can change the milestone to 125 or something like this. Then.
Okay, yep.
Then we have the OpenSSF topic, which is also on Steven's side. So this was about gaining hardware, so Titan or YubiKeys. And I think most of us already got them or will get them. And I would expect that we also update some documentation, how to use it in conjunction with our Kubernetes project. So still in progress. Then rewriting the milestone maintainer is probably also related to this other issue. Yeah, it's on Mac's side. I will probably ping Max about this one. Not sure if Max has time to work on it this cycle. And then we also, yeah, that's also a good topic, which is almost closed. So we set up 1Password vaults for SIG release. This gives us the possibility to share our secrets in a good way. And every release manager and SIG release lead should be part of this vault and should have access to it. For example, the host key for this meeting will be part of this vault, and then we can rotate it accordingly after a certain amount of time. All right, so this looks like we are making progress here. I will not go through the to-dos and through the backlog and the untriaged issues. We can divert this to later meetings. So if you're interested, and then just go through those issues and see. So some of them are already closed, so you can probably move them to done just like this. And with that, I would like to go back to our agenda. I would like to ask you, do you have anything else, any topic you would like to bring up? Because if not, then I will give you around about 10 minutes back.
Hey, hello everybody.
Hey.
So I was signing the CLA and it was asking me to proceed as a corporate contributor. So do I have to sign the CLA as a corporate contributor, or is there any way I can proceed as an individual contributor as well?
This depends. I mean, you can sign it as an individual contributor. That's totally fine from the community perspective.
It is actually not allowing me to sign as an individual contributor. So the button is disabled.
It's new to ECCLA probably, yeah. But can you sign the CLA as corporate from the corporate perspective?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, because
so I'm not sure if my organization has signed the CLA. So I have to mention the organization I'm working on with.
Yeah, exactly.
I would reach out to Mr. Bobby Tables. He kind of drove the easy CLA stuff, so he'll probably be the best person to help you.
Yeah, I agree. Or generally, SIG contributor, so should be able to help you with the CLA stuff. So it recently switched, and I knew there was some migration in the background, and for example, I was able to sign it as individual and from a corporate perspective, as I did it some years ago.
So it says no signed CLA found for the organization I mentioned.
Oh, I think just reach out to Bob. I think you are now required to sign it from a corporate perspective, but I'm not completely sure.
All right.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, I would like to give you your 10 minutes back. And thank you all for attending this meeting, and see you soon. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.